Some people think the nuclear bomb was the dumbest idea that humans have ever come up with. Let's give the stupidest people in our society a big world splody button. What could possibly go wrong? But while humanity is congratulating itself for its own stupidity, God is up there laughing because 300,000 years ago, he created the INTJ, which is probably his worst idea since creating the universe. And creating the universe made a lot of people very unhappy and is universally considered a bad move. So in this video, I'm going to go over all the reasons why INTJs are a danger to society. But keep in mind, just because something is dangerous doesn't mean it's bad. Reese's Cups are really dangerous to me because I'll eat half a bag of them in one sitting if I'm not careful. All things in moderation, which is perfect for INTJs because they're experts at social moderation. They only leave their basement layers once a month. Hello everybody, I'm TrebleKnight and I'm an INFP. I make comedy videos about the things that interest me, and oftentimes that's about MBTI. So if you don't want to miss out on the best content on this entire website, click that subscribe button and ring the bell. Or I guess you could just watch Baby Shark over and over again. So, without further ado, let's get started. God complex. Let's be honest. A lot of INTJs clicked on this video because they liked the idea of being dangerous. INTJs think they're the smartest people alive. But that's not really saying much, because people are really, really dumb. 5 seconds on TikTok will show you that. A tortoise is going to seem like the fastest animal when they're racing against a bunch of snails. But if you put a tortoise into a race with a bunch of cheetahs, they're gonna be quite surprised. INTJs are big thinkers. They make plans and they see all the patterns. INTJs could make great psychics if they wanted to, but INTJs will only do things the way they want to. It's the INTJ way, after all. Their way is the best way, and they can prove it, or at least they think they can prove it. Basically, INTJs are the greatest thing since forever, and if you don't agree, that just means you're stupid, and why should they listen to a stupid person? Bad communicators. I guess it makes sense that somebody with a God complex would be bad at communication. If the Bible isn't simple to understand, and INTJs think they're God, then why on earth should INTJs be simple? This type kind of expects you to read their mind, even though they don't believe you can read people's mind. But it doesn't matter. INTJs expect you to do it anyway. You see, INTJs have really high expectations. And while INTJs don't want to admit this, they have a really well-developed sense of self. Or at least they develop it as they get older. They know themselves more or less pretty well and are pretty surprisingly in touch with their own emotions. It's everybody else's emotions that they don't care about. When you become friends with an INTJ, they expect you to understand them and study them on a deep level, the same way that they treat you. And if you don't go crazy stalker level observant on an INTJ, then that just means that you don't care about the friendship as much as they do. And that hurts their feelings. And I get that. You want your friends to know you, and you don't want to have to explain every little thing to them. But you also need to understand that not everyone is an intuitive. And for some people, you kind of just need to spell things out in black and white. Look, it's not their fault. They're just sensors. But like I said, INTJs only see things their way or the wrong way. For more information on this, see point 1, ruthless logic. INTJs are logical people. Well, I take that back. They're logical robots. Facts don't care about your feelings is their favorite quote. It was their senior quote, it's their quote on their social media accounts, and it's even their favorite motivational tattoo. It's kind of like a Bible to them. Can I tell you about my Lord and Savior logic? INTJs look at everything in a pretty detached way. Emotions, traditions, and sentimentalness all need to be evaluated and judged. For feeling types, this kind of cold and calculated way of looking at things seems a bit harsh, but that's just how INTJs like it. That being said, while facts might not care about your feelings, mature INTJs do care. Kinda. So they will take your feelings into account, but this is not an easy feat for them. INTJs are FE blind after all, so if they're considering your feelings, you should feel honored. Revenge masters. INTJs love to be the ultimate objectivists. They're cold, mean thinking machines. Except instead of having a supercomputer in their noggins, they have a bunch of little Ewoks pulling the strings. You see, INTJs are secretly little sensitive snowflakes. Sure, INFPs will cry at the drop of a hat, but INTJs will too. They're just better at hiding it. The thing is, for FI DOMs like INFPs and ISFPs, we have FE as a shadow function as a counter to our FI. So we're always considering other people's feelings in our subconscious. INTJs are FE blind, so all of their little Ewoks don't have little angels on their shoulders, they just have two demons. So if you wrong an INTJ, you better be ready for some sweet revenge. And it's gonna be so sweet, you're gonna get type 2 diabetes, which is probably their plan, obviously. Trust issues. Knowing that INTJs plan on giving everyone they don't like type 2 diabetes probably makes you not trust them. And that's A-okay in their book because they don't trust you either. INTJs have some serious trust issues. They trust people so little, they've installed a big wooden board between themselves and their partner in their bed. They even went the extra yard to install some motion detectors. Look, you're not going to be stealing INTJ's bed covers tonight, or any night. It can take a long time for an INTJ to trust you. In the time it took you to go on your first date with your INTJ match, ESFP has already gotten married and divorced 10 times. INTJs don't like to take chances. They don't like chance so much, they drive around the chance block in Mario Kart. Look, any block could be a mine. And this is super true for relationships. Just look at any Taylor Swift song. Before an INTJ makes any decision, they need data, and a lot of it. So don't be surprised if on the first date, an INTJ asks you for a DNA sample and brings along a palm reader. This is standard procedure. Oh, and if you ever break their trust once they've opened up to you, you are never, ever getting it back. But they will probably offer you a cupcake. Super introverts. If you have an introverted friend, you're probably quite used to them randomly jumping off the face of the earth, only to return when you made food they like. Well, INTJs will do this too, but your attempts to lower them back with food simply won't work. INTJs need space like a fish needs water. If you pull an INTJ out of their solitude, they'll flop around and probably die. And before any of you extroverts have any bright ideas, may I remind you that murder is a crime and prisons have solitary confinement. INTJs need a lot of time to process stuff. How are they supposed to come up with the next idea better than sliced bread if you keep interrupting them to play random board games? INTJs have a hard time relating to people. Surprisingly, most people don't spend all their time thinking about how they can prove Schrodinger's cat was both alive and dead. INTJs simply don't think like most people. So when they go out and find out most people are speaking in Simish, they get quite annoyed because they prefer playing Civ 5. But even when people want to play Civ 5 with them, they like to play the game in a completely different way than they do. So they really just can't win, and this makes them feel super isolated. As a result, an INTJ is going to come out of their room just as much as their dirty clothes hamper does. Negative perfectionists. Do you remember back in your emo middle school days when you thought everyone was against you because they wanted you to wear deodorant? Well, INTJs are still there. INTJs tend to see everything in a negative light. Congratulations, you made it to the moon, but you suck at golf. INTJs can be hard on others, no doubt. But remember that an INTJ has to live with an INTJ 24/7. And this was actually the most effective torture method during the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expected it. INTJs are self-critical about everything. They could be critical of their work projects, or one of their billion side projects, or even just how they sit on the toilet. For them, everything needs to be just right. If Goldilocks were an INTJ, by the time the three bears got back, she'd have already made 50 bowls of porridge because she could just never find one that was just right. Fear of intimacy. The INTJ is an enigma. They're kind of like Bigfoot. They both have no idea how to pose for photos, or really want to. They avoid social situations like they're a hunter's trap, and both types are always single. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot with a girlfriend? INTJs will rarely open up. Asking an INTJ to share their emotions is like asking a leopard to share their stripes. It's gonna wonder, how do you even think that's possible, and then probably eat you. Fortunately, unlike leopards, INTJs will probably not try to gobble you up. INTJs have a deep inner world that's somewhat based on their feelings, but they don't like to share it because, well, it's embarrassing to them. INTJs don't blush. They just get sudden sunburns at nighttime. You've heard of sunblock, but they don't sell moonblock. Even if an INTJ trusts you enough to do a trust fall over lava, they probably won't let you read their diary that they don't have. INTJs don't have diaries. That's just silly. Overplanners. Is there such a thing as an overplanner? Of course not. No person during a zombie apocalypse says, "Oh no, I overplanned and now I have too much food and guns." To an INTJ, you can no more overplan than you can overlive. The future has infinite possibilities, so you need infinite plans. They have so many plans, they've switched over to naming their plans after the digits of pi, because there were just too few letters to fulfill their needs. And if you think that labeling all of your plans after numbers of pi would be confusing, well, that's just INTJ planning for you. It's pretty hard to catch an INTJ off guard. If you hit the self-destruct button on their World Doomsday device, they have a deactivation button at the palm of their hand. And that button doubles as a trap. Don't think this means that INTJs are going to take over the world. They're not ENTJs. The problem is, they may have set up the self-destruct deactivation button and the trap, but they forgot to finish the Doomsday device. The INTJ's plans are actually flawless. The problem is, they never get around to actually executing them. While INTJs are probably the most dangerous type, INFPs are probably the worst. If you want to learn more, check out the video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Special thanks to my patrons, and I'll catch you all next time.